What is good, everyone? Welcome back to Nate Trades. This is week number 4 of documenting my journey to becoming a consistently profitable day trader. I go through the wins, the losses, and the lessons I learn every week. So follow along, and I'll get right into this week's trade recap. This week, I took 5 trades. I took 3 losses, 1 win, and a break even. I learned a lot. So let's just get right into the first day. So getting right into Monday, start on the higher time frame here. Going into the day, I had a bearish bias. Reason being, we had just tapped this 4-hour right here, and we had disrespected both of these 4 hours by inversing them. And we were sitting in this bearish 4 hour. So I figured if we were going to inverse this 4 hour, we would go down and take out this liquidity right here. I was looking to take a short setup to all this LR or a sweep of this high. So right at market open, we opened up a 5-minute fair value gap right here. I was using this as my condition. I was thinking if price wants to go up, tap this, maybe I catch a short off of that or a sweep. I wasn't really actually going to take a sweep of this high because I thought that was just so close to this LR and these relative equal highs, which is obviously a really strong draw. London high and Asia high did not sweep out each other, and it didn't happen on ES either. So I was looking for a short setup specifically off this 5-minute. So what do we do at market open? Go up, tap it, and boom down without a fair value gap on 1 minute. But there was a fair value gap here on 30-second, so I did take it. It happened very quickly, and so I never thought through where my break-even level should be. Where it should have been would have been this low right here. It should have been right there, but I didn't do it fast enough. So what do? We went down. We immediately were just displacing. I was like, this is great. And we had all this LR built up right here. I figured we go down to this one, this low at minimum, or this more external low, with the mindset of I was bearish towards that significant 4-hour low. So right after it hit here, I should have been break even. I wasn't. It immediately reversed on me and stopped me out. So I shot my shot on this one. It was a 5-minute tap. It respected it, and it did go to the nearest draw, which is how I think of it. I think logically, if we inverse the highest time frame gap in the leg, which would have been this right here, which would have been this 30-second, we should go to the next draw of liquidity, which is right here. So unfortunately, this one didn't play out. It did end up just resweeping this high and then going down here, taking out this low. Now, the reason I didn't look for a long right away off of this is because we did have this low, significant low right next to it. I was not exactly looking for longs here because overall my bias was bearish. And even though this was like a really clean reaction and it did go towards the stronger draw up here, being London high and Asia high, I didn't think it was clean enough because I was looking for this low to get swept if we were going to even go up and take out the high. Now, the lesson I learned from today, and I did take one other trade setup I'll talk about in a second, but the lesson I learned from this trade specifically is when there's two significant draws with the higher one and the lower one, it's honestly just going to be best for me to stay out until one of them has been hit and then just target the other one. So that's what I'm going to work on next week. The second trade I took today ended up just kind of being a pattern trade, which is super unfortunate. I took it on ES after NQ and ES both took out Asia and London highs, hit a 1-hour fair value gap, and we started displacing lower, disrespecting these 5-minute fair value gaps. And at this point, when it just inversed this 5-minute with so much displacement, I thought there's no way we don't run all this LR. Now, what I didn't think of in the moment was that NQ had already run the LR. So ES didn't technically have to, therefore it's not a valid draw of liquidity. But that's not where that's not what I did. So when ES retraced up into this 5 minute right here, got a clean retracement up into this 5 minute, and there's actually a 15 minute forming right here as well, which I'll mark out. We retraced up into the 5 minute. We had a little resweep here that did tap the 15 minute. So it was respecting a 5 minute, tapping a 15 minute. So it's the entry model. And I took this one on 32nd. Again, this one was a lot easier or clearer, I guess I'd say. This would have been my break-even level. But yeah, I entered on a 30-second displacement candle after hitting that and lost out on this one because, simply put, the draw of liquidity wasn't good. So those are the two trades I took on Monday. This just reinforces how much I just need to be focused on, is the draw of liquidity really A plus or is it not? So yeah. All right, getting into Tuesday. Tuesday was super clean. Going back to the high time frame, my condition for the day was we're going to target previous day high as the draw immediately, which was here, which we displaced through, and then from there was there was the external highs here and this 4 hour fair value gap, which was also a 1 hour fair value gap. So that was my immediate draw, super A plus draw. Getting into the setup, I was looking for either a sweep of the lows here to tap this 4 hour and then take a long, or just a simple continuation. So I didn't get a sweep of the low, it just displaced higher. And then we went down, tapped this 5 minute without giving us any clean inversions, so I didn't take that. And then after a nice resweep here, after I got a clean inversion here, I entered long. Now I low-key fumbled this one. It's obviously a plus setup with the relative equal highs and the external draw so close. And then just simple continuation. It tapped a 5 minute for value gap right here, and it displaced higher. Now I fumbled this one because I didn't have my groups selected, and so it full ported one of my accounts. I have my copy trader. It full ported one of my accounts, and as soon as I realized that, I realized I tried to fix it by adding selecting my group and then putting the sell order, but then it added it to a brand new account that didn't have a trade in it. So it was a whole crap show. So when it got close up here, I just closed it out. I'm disappointed that I fumbled it, but it definitely taught me the lesson of I gotta be on top of. I gotta have all my ducks in a row when I'm entering a trade. Make sure that the copy traders correctly set up. But yeah, it was a banger A plus setup. Super super simple. Yeah, that was that. I confidently entered, but unfortunately, my TradeEvade account fricked me because I wasn't on top of that. So yeah. All right, getting into Thursday, I took one trade today. So getting into the high time frame, I was bullish towards these highs here. We had an SMT here with the 4 hour intermediate high, but I was still leaning towards us being bullish towards these. The relative equal highs here looked really good to me, and we had just inversed a 4 hour bullish fair value gap. So going right down to it, we didn't have any hourly fair value gaps here we were respecting, and there was an SMT at this low. So here's the trade setup I took. It was a break even. Yeah, so at market open, we just displaced lower, took out London lows. I was leaning bullish overall, so we had a nice pullback here, but this leg was huge, so I didn't look for a long off of that. When we got a resweep finally here, I was looking for an inversion, but that was just a crappy inverse right there. This candle doesn't look good remotely. So I was again looking for another resweep. So when we did finally get another resweep, ES swept out right here, NQ didn't. I got in on this pretty bullish candle right here. There's an IFEG with displacement. I had a clear break even here. I had the LRL here and a 15-minute for value gap that is unmitigated with like a more external draw of this 5-minute intermediate high. So that was like the context why I would take the trade. This one did go break even and kind of save my butt because it went break even. Break even right here immediately wicked me out, and I guess one candle later it wicked me out. Yeah, wicked me out right there. I was pretty disappointed because I was freaking confident in this draw. I would take this trade again. But it did wake me out, and so nothing I can do about that. And that was the one trade setup I took that day. I didn't take this long right here, even though it was like super bullish reaction, simply because the RR would have been, it would have looked like this. And I would have had to target this high, which would have been fine. It didn't end up playing out. It went most of the way, edged it, but in the moment, I didn't take it because I thought this was just super bad RR. My break even level would have been right here, and yeah, it would have break even me. So I didn't take that one, which I'm not mad about. Next time, if I get this so clean V-shaped reaction, I'm honestly gonna stick my stop probably somewhere in here, and just like target like a 1-to-1 probably. Um, but yeah, that was it for Thursday. Let's get into Friday. All right, getting into Friday, I did take one trade here. I took this loss right here, and then I didn't take a trade, a continuation long here, and I'll talk about that in a second. So the bias was super clean, super obvious. We were respecting this 4-hour bullish fair value gap, and clearly trending towards this high time frame. The high time frame draws these 4-hour intermediate highs and this swing high. So going into the day, the ideal setup was a sweep of this low or tapping any one of these 15-minute fair value gaps that were created here. I was pretty much just looking for a continuation long off one of these 15-minute fair value gaps. So the reason I didn't take this trade, and I'll quickly explain it, was I was looking super long, super bullish on the day that I was not going to take shorts. We immediately took out London high at like market open. We retraced down into this 5-minute, and then the highest time frame inversion was a 4-minute right here. So it would have looked like this, something like that, and then just target. Probably the easiest one would have been here, that high or towards the external. So the reason I didn't take this 4-minute right here is because ES had taken this break-even level. ES had already taken out this high right here by the time the 4-minute inversed on NQ. That's the reason I didn't take it, was because of the SMT. Now, logically thinking about it, and hindsight is 2020, obviously. Hindsight, logically, we're bullish towards the higher time frame LR, higher time frame draw, excuse me. We're bullish towards the high time frame draws, and we had a very deep retracement. This is a very deep retracement. It tapped both 5 minutes here. And so logically, it doesn't make sense for us, even if ES takes out this high, for NQ to just dump. That doesn't make any sense. So that was, I wish I had taken this trade, but that was why I didn't take it, and why I will take it next time is if it just generally and obviously just common sensely makes sense to continue going higher, I'll take it next time, even if the break-even level has already been taken. But getting into the one trade that I did take, so market went up, it edged these highs from over here, and then okay, we edged them. We got within 12 points of the closest one. Like that, it seemed so free, like just free to take them. We tapped a 5 minute right here. It was super premium, so I decided not to take a long, even though it was very close. And then we got a move down into tapping this 15 minute for value gap right here and the bottom 5 minute for value gap that was inside it. Now at this point I was extremely bullish towards the high. So after this clean V-shaped reaction right here, I entered long. Now what I discounted was that there was an SMT at the high on ES. ES wasn't like close to these external draws, but there was an SMT there. That was a small thing. Another thing was I got too hyper fixated on this high right here. And so that's something I'm going to work on next week. I got too focused on this draw of liquidity rather than anything else, because with this SMT I could have shorted. I could have shorted towards this 5 minute, but I didn't. Anyways, so what I did wrong on this trade was this is a very big leg, and I took a 30-second because it looked like a clean V-shaped reaction here. There was a higher time frame. There's a 2 minute there. There's a 3 minute there. And there's a 4 minute here, which I totally missed. I totally missed this 4 minute when I was entering. But regardless of that, this was the trade I took. I didn't have a break-even level. It just simply TP here, break stop loss here. And unfortunately, that one didn't play out for my sake. I think this one was a probability loss because I was still like very confident in this draw higher. I just could have been less fixated on the draw, and so when this SMT happened, I could have just taken a short towards the 5 minute, but it's all right. I'll learn, and I'm gonna work on that to do better next week to not be so hyper fixated on the draw. So the weekly lesson from this week is gonna just be don't get too hyper fixated on a draw and just try to be more reactionary, like this short setup that I could have taken but didn't, or the first trade here that it just made logical sense to take along here. So I'll just allow myself to be more reactionary. What did I do right? I implemented my new risk management plan, which it was hard to stomach at some points, like especially during these losses. But I persevered through that, and I didn't let it affect how I operated in a trade. I didn't go break even too soon or anything like that. What did I do wrong? I was too hyper fixated on the draw of liquidity, and I did jump the gun a few times with the 30-second, specifically this trade right here, instead of waiting for more confirmation being the highest time frame inversion in the leg. Going into next week, I'm going to stick to my rules more exactly. I define them more for myself being highest time frame inversion, because this week I was kind of wishy-washy with it. I said, if there's a 1 minute displacement, I'd be okay taking that. But yeah, I'm going to go back to just highest time frame inversions, and hopefully you guys can keep me accountable with that. And then just shooting my shots at trades if it makes just common sense, just general common sense for trading. I'm going to shoot my shot with trades. So that is it, everyone. I hope you learned something from me today. I definitely have learned a lot from posting these trade recaps. It's helped me to focus on what I did wrong and what I did right in each week, and to type out lessons that I'm going to work on next week. So yeah, if you want to follow along with my journey to becoming a consistently profitable day trader, hit the subscribe button, and Merry Christmas. Peace out.